All right, I should be live, hopefully. Yep, everything seems happy with the stream. I actually have internet now, which last time I streamed, I still think I was on Wi-Fi. There we go. Yeah, camera. Didn't have my camera on. Should have no copyright music going. I have a cool new shirt. The missus made these / co-owner of Shift Systems made these. So soon we'll see if we'll do a run of them. I for sure wanted at least a test run before I went to self because I might be doing a presentation on ShiftMon there. So yeah, everything is looking good, and just a friendly reminder: like, share the stream, all that good stuff. Um, so yeah, one thing I would like to do is talk about. Along with doing all the updates and whatnot, I think it might be a good idea to start doing either blogs of war stories or like stories that shows ShiftMon helping people out in the real world, so that way you get an idea of the value the product provides and gives you like real world usage of the product, because I've noticed there's always a big divide of like, all right, here's what the documentation says, but getting your hands dirty with it is always different. And it's no fault of like, you can have really good documentation and it's still kind of different than just like using it IRL. So I'm going to go over why my Nextcloud server is so as crap. So we're just looking at the regular Linux server dashboard. My Nextcloud server is gobby. I would not recommend using like cheeky characters in your production networks at work. In your home lab, have some fun with it. So what I noticed was going wrong with my Nextcloud server, it was just running super slow, and I might actually be able to show this here. So see if the response time actually got better too. I don't know if the like IOwait and the spoilers. But so if we go to dashboards and we go to uptime Kuma and let's explore this guy. Cool. And then let's look for Nextcloud. There we go. Let's do last 30 days. Okay, cool. So you can see some spikes if you go back far enough. So you see some spikes here. But if we zoom in on like the last 8 days, because I fixed this like last Friday. Yeah. So if we just do zoom in on like month to date, we see some spikes here and we see some glitches, but that is something different. Probably a war story for a different time. See these spikes that are happening here now going away. I noticed it in the responsiveness. I'm guessing it wasn't showing up in this check because the latency of Nextcloud here is just monitored by like redirecting to the login page, which probably isn't gonna be that slow unless things are just god awful. I would notice just like clicking around inside the web interface or like loading the news app on my phone was super slow. So once I finally had some free time, I was like, all right, why the heck is this app so slow? Then I come in here and see IOwait was super high. So let's go back to last Wednesday through Saturday. I think that should capture it. Yeah, so we'll see those big spikes here, but if we zoom in even farther to just here. Alright, that's not 0. Edit. So I noticed there's IOwait spikes. So what IOwait is how long the processor is spending, or the percentage of the time that the processor is spending waiting for IO operations to complete. So everything was looking good here. Gosh, I'm really stuck on like just here. Apply. So I noticed some IOwait spikes here, and I was like, all right, what the heck's going on? Let's do here to here. See if we get a better result. There we go. So this is what I was noticing. I was noticing super high IOwait. To give you an idea for scale, 0 means that your storage is not bottlenecking your processor at all, which is good. Or restraining. There's a weird pedantic difference. So 0 is good. 6 to 7 is where performance starts to take a hit, and you need to start doing something about it. So I saw this and was like, well, what the heck is going on? And I realized, oh, Nextcloud is running Postgres. And actually, we can show this in the dashboard. He's like, so what would be running here that would be taking up all the time? I know because I wrote the Ansible rule for this, Postgres is running. And because Nextcloud takes a lot of storage because it does file syncing, needs to sync all your files. I put it on my big chonky hypervisor. Dashboards. I put it on Zeek. Yep. So we're on Zeek. I put it on Crisco because Crisco is 7 bytes of data. So this big chungus RAID 1 array. But it's all spinning Rust. And spinning Rust is, it tops out like a, what is it, sequential rate's like 100 megabytes a second, and random's just garbage. SSDs can do like 600 to 700 megabytes, and then NVMe drives can do way more. So margarine is SSD, and butter is NVMe. As you can see, these two are an order of magnitude smaller, or a tenth the size of this pool. So if I have, a couple hundred gigs of data that I don't need to access super fast, it makes sense to put it here. But putting Postgres there is obviously going to cause IOwait problems, which is what the problem was here. So ShiftMon helped me realize that this is the metric that was breaking everything. And the solution to this problem was using something called BirdIOFS, which is the KVM methodology of, or I'm not sure, it's the way libvirt, I don't know who owns it, quote unquote, but basically it's a way of the hypervisor passing through a folder to an operating system. So now the Nextcloud data lives outside of the virtual hard drive. So the virtual hard drive is still like ridiculously small, but I'm not sure if that's on the dashboard or not. Block size. Oh, crud. Yeah, it shows the active size, not the use size. But you can tell now that it's performing way better. The reason for this is now the Nextcloud data lives on the spinning Rust, and Postgres and the operating system live on NVMe. NVMe being way faster, it can handle the database, and the database isn't the large part of the application. It is or the database isn't the large storage use in the application, it's the file storage. So just to show you what that looks like. Wait for the hypervisor to load. Gabi is bridge up. So we can see that it's only using 15 gigs of storage for an operating system, PHP Postgres. And then this is being passed over at the NC data tag. So once that migration completed, we go from IOwait. We can explore this, and we can do the last 30 days. We can now see that we're consistently in like 100%. So basically the processor's just waiting for the hard drives to get their crap together constantly to nothing. Just this precipitous drop off, and I can zoom in on it here. boom, right here. So those are the kind of things that ShiftMon helps you find out. It's like it helps you tell a story is the way I describe it. Is it takes it from my computer feels slow to like no, the application is not performing correctly. And that's really good because both as a technician, I've been on both sides of it where like, dude, this thing is slow garbage and it needs to get faster and I'm pissed. To like to being on the operator side where like I have no idea why this is slow. So having observability is really cool, and having observability that you can host yourself is really good too for both pricing, for both cost reasons, which is another war story I want to talk about another day. Um, and actually, I can talk about that war story next. But both for like cost reasons and data sovereignty reasons, especially if you're like in a regulated industry or you have a tinfoil hat like me, where your data is super important, and you can't just kind of like toss it up to any cloud vendor. It's nice to be able to be like, cloud vendor, you take care of all this. I just install your proprietary agent, you instrument all my stuff for me. But the two problems with that is one is where your data is for both regulatory and cost purposes, because they're running in like top quality data centers and they're passing the cost on to you. The other reason is compliance, whether that's HIPAA, GDPR, other letters. Yeah. So being able to host it yourself. The other reason is war story number 2 is that this can be used in conjunction with Grafana Cloud, which is really good when you're just like testing and seeing like, oh, I want to instrument a new application. Because if I go to here and go to internal metrics, zoom out. When did I add in? I added in 17,000 time series. Let's explore this. So all of a sudden I added in 17,000 times, or what's the max? Options. Both. Wait, where's the table at? Oh, anyway. Just a crap ton of time series get created here, right? Now we're at 31 before... Here, let's explore this. We see these giant jumps here where I was at 12,000 series for my observability data, which would be $16 a month in Grafana Cloud, up to here. So to give you an idea what could happen is we can go to the Grafana Cloud pricing. To be clear, I have nothing against Grafana Cloud. It's an amazing product I've used before, but it helps when you don't end up with this nonsense. I shouldn't say nonsense. When you end up with a per time series billing hosing you. So this would be... Oh, what? What's the free tier at now? Okay, never mind. You get 20k metrics here. So I would have been in the free tier. And then I would have been at 40? Just let me... Yeah. I would have gone from a free... or $29 to $200. Which I just 10x'd my bill there. I've had other situations where like the same 10x happened, but the bill was already a couple grand. That's all I can really say about that without getting in trouble. Yeah. So Grafana Cloud's really cool, but your mistakes can be super expensive. Because having a bill 10 times more than you expect kind of sucks. At this scale, whatever. Um, actually, wait. If I view the NTOP data, I think it's sampled every 10 seconds. So this actually would suck way more. So it would be calc. So my bill would have gone from $29 ish if I had a 1 minute sample rate. Yeah, this is what it would be. I would have a 1 minute sample rate, or we'll see if I would have had a 1 minute sample rate. So this is 1 dot per minute, which means 1 sample per minute per time series, basically. So if you have a collection interval of 10, you have 6 dots per minute, which would be 6 series for every 1 series you collect, is how it would bill out. It's a little screwy to understand, but yeah. So the other thing is ntop ng. I know this was from ntop ng. So you go up here, we're basically 25 to 30K. So go to pricing. We'd be I'm mad that they don't let you like just input the integer. Alright, whatever. So $120 bill. Not 10x, still sucks. It'd be 4x. But I think the sample rate for the data, it was ntop ng's when this happened. I want to play with it and use it as a showcase of why having your own local metrics is a really good idea, because it's super high cardinality, which means there's a bunch of time series because you're creating a few series per like internet connection you're making. So let's go here. Let's do db. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. That was not good. db ntop ng. I am just gonna refresh this before this gets bad. Crap. ntop ng. Cancel. Let's just cancel this query. Trying to find. I just need to find something that's actually sending 15-second. Okay, so this would have been 4 DPM. It looks like the collection interval is. There we go. I had it zoomed out too far. So we would have been. It looks like the data sends every 15 seconds, right? So 30, 45, 0. So that would have been 4 dots a minute. So that would have been an additional, just for napkin math's sake, this would have been 80K, right? Because we go from, wait, I can use a split for this. I can use a split, actives. Aw. I know it's VM underscore something. Concurrent. Crap. Alright, I have to cheat. Go to, sorry, explore, gosh, dashboards, internal. What is that? Max active series. VM cache entries. There's an aggregation. Oh. Yeah, I could just be smart and use copy paste. Yeah. So 25K metrics. So was it 12? So I'd get 8 for free. So in general, I think I would have been on the hook for like 80K metrics. Would have been my usage based on Grafana numbers. So that's the other reason you can get a better sampling rate. I will mention, like, when you're doing your own observability, you need to be careful of the who watches the watchers problem, which basically means like, all right, I'm responsible for the stuff that I'm monitoring and the stuff that's being observed. Who makes sure that the monitoring tool doesn't goof? So you have to set something up. So Grafana Cloud is a free tier. That's what I do, and just use it to make sure that like my Grafana instance is online and my public URLs are online, because synthetic monitoring is a good product. And it's pretty low cardinality to do black box checks. So that's what I would recommend doing. But if you do on-prem, you do need to set something up externally to make sure that everything's being monitored well. If you have any questions about anything I'm talking about, just let me know. Okay. So would have been on the hook for like 80K. God, this slider's so annoying. 85K, yeah. Getting that bill would have sucked so bad. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna screw around with this thing. $500 bill. Yeah. So another way ShiftMon has helped me out a ton is being able to just shoot. I call it shooting the fire hose at it, where I can shoot a fire hose at ShiftMon. Worst thing that happens is I take my local observability. I don't actually incur cloud bills, which is cool. Taking your on-prem observability sucks, but so does getting a bill in the mail. Yeah, basically it boils down to like which the engineering adage, there are no solutions, only trade-offs. Which trade-offs do you want to make? I think the trade-offs for running local for most things make sense. But there are certain scenarios where like, I'm already busy, I just want to throw money at the problem and go away. That is perfectly valid in going to CloudWorks too. And something I do want to work on in future is taking a Grafana Cloud tenant and making it have all the pretty ShiftMon dashboards and Ansible rules built in. Yeah, because Grafana Agent's cool and their integrations I'm sure are great, but I really like this setup here. And there's still some things that Telegraph does that Grafana Agent doesn't. Namely, I don't know if they have an... there are some plugins that I'm not sure exist, and the output for logging is a bit better when you're just trying to search around for stuff. So, like I said, no solutions, only trade-offs to everything. So what else did I have today? ShiftMon saves the day. Adding an IOwait alert. So, let's circle back to IOwait tanking performance. We should probably get an alert when something is above that IOwait threshold. I actually did a poor job of showcasing IOwait. So let's go back to that terrible, terrible time of the 4 through the 6. My Nextcloud server was running like dog water. Advanced CPU stats. So these are hidden by default. So that way you can kind of get a good view on anything. But if you don't want to hit explore up here, you can scroll down and be like, oh god, this is terrible. But obviously you can tell that the migration happened here and everything's happy. We're seeing sub 1%, which is good. So what we have here is view. We have thresholds that are for, what is it, 6 and 8%. So we want to get an alert when IOwait, or when the average IOwait is above 6%. So how do we do that? Go to alerting, go to alert rules. Oh, cool, you can filter by data sources now. So let's create an alert rule. We are going to use shift logs, and we want to use that query from the panel. I'm being lazy and copy pasting, so if you want to alert on anything, you could do this too and not have to go through the legwork of making your own query. I think it's the same one, but edit so I can get the query out of here. Don't want the labels, and it kind of doesn't matter what platform we're on. So we'll go back to this tab. So we don't want to do, when we want to do a mean is above 6 for the test duration. So now we only have like one box that would have triggered it, and that would have been Armin, which makes sense. So everything's happy right now for the most part. This is getting a little high, so I understand Armin's gonna be 8, and if this fires and bothers me a bunch, I'll actually make a suppression for Armin. I know the IO load is high and it's a known issue. That'll probably be the next stream. So everything's good here. We need to copy paste a summary, which I should have in my notes or in the repo. This is actually available in GitLab, so let's pull up the documentation for ShiftMon. And this is actually how I would make an alert, would be to copy paste all the work from ShiftMon. So if you think ShiftMon is just, yeah, I enjoy the components you stitch together, make it easy to deploy, but none of what you're observing is helpful to me at all, you can still use like how dashboards are laid out and how alerts are set up from the stuff you don't care about to make the stuff you care about. And I think that's a super valuable use case, because in my home lab I have one hypervisor. If I had 100 hypervisors, I would look at that differently. Or if I worked at a SOC, I would have used Suricata alerts differently. There's different things that are big deals to different people. Like if my hypervisor's down, if I have one server that's down in my home lab, that's a problem. If I have a giant cluster of highly redundant things, why do I need to care? Because having a node go down doesn't matter. Is the service healthy? So your needs kind of change as your scale changes, and if your specialized things change too. So we're in docs. We're going to go to alerting. And we're going to do high CPU usage. That's kind of the closest one. And I can do the most copy pasting. Let's go here. And this is the summary. Did all these summaries end up looking like this? Crap. Alright, so now labels host has IOwait above as high IOwait. Percent of IOwait. This could be causing issues with application responsiveness. Cool. So now what we can also do is we can pin this alert to a provision dashboard. So if I go to dashboard UID, oh wait, this is the bad way to do it. Set dashboard and panel. I'm gonna tie this to Linux like a bad person. Alert tab disabled for this panel. It's only supported on graph and time series. Oh, it's hidden by default. Okay. So we can't do that here. If the panel supported it, you go to IOwait, click here, click confirm. So this won't work sadly, but then we want to, if we had a severity or any labels that would route the alert, we would set that here, but I don't. IOwait. Alright, was there anything else that I needed to cover? Just have making diagrams so we can fix some documentation. Need to pick a folder and evaluation group every 1 minute for 10 minutes. Issues happening. Oh, yeah. The original OG issue for ShiftMon was actually this. Was making sure all my automation was working. Fun fact. Alright. So let's squirrel a little bit and work on some docs stuff. And what is it? Command P. Crap. Markdown preview to the side. Where did it all go wrong? Oh, backslashes. Okay. Speed, mode, strength, threshold, above. So all of these I forgot to put the backslash above. Boop. I think none of these look like hot garbage anymore, and it was just those three. Or no, I lied. Control F4. Oh yay. So this one was 2 minutes. Okay, this one doesn't matter. Yeah, no, this one doesn't matter. Sweet. 4 or 5 minutes. For 1 hour. Everything looks good here. We'll ship it. Or actually, what we need to add now is we should add that IOwait alert. I'm going to add in as many of the alerts as I can for this. So let's copy high CPU usage. Unhealthy smart data. I'm debating. Crap. I hate when that happens. I'll accidentally press Control C when I'm trying to paste something, and then I have to like go back through here and fix all this nonsense. So also, you can tweak all of these, and there is a method of using the provisioning API to provision alerts in Grafana. I think that is something that shouldn't be automated by me for your alerts. The reason is alert fatigue is a thing. So alert fatigue, for I think there's something called notification fatigue for non like SRE or like in a informal sense, where basically you get so many notifications that they don't mean anything anymore. For the Incredibles reference, if everyone's special, no one is. So if you get so many notifications that are supposed to be special, they cease to be special and you start ignoring them. So you could have an environment where you're running like CI jobs, machine learning training, stuff that has super high CPU usage, or you can't afford to buy faster storage and you just have to suck it up and have a high IOwait times. So if I'm sitting here and if I deploy something that just blows up your phone the second you set up alerts, you're going to blame the product and be like, ShiftMon's garbage. It just blew up my phone the second I set it up. Yeah. Alerting is definitely one of those things where it's specialized. Because if I put in dashboards that are useless to you, they hide in the ShiftMon folder. They don't do anything anymore. So I don't care. But if I do alerts, I'm blowing up your phone at 2 a.m. for something that couldn't matter. Your view of an open source project that blew up your phone at 2 a.m. is going to be a lot different than it had too many dashboards that didn't mean anything to me. So that's why there's a document that gives you ideas of what you can alert on rather than something that is going to just set up everything for you. So we have this high CPU IOwait, and then we'll split, go to edit. This is the query we used. We'll get rid of the markdown preview and assume I do everything right. Reduce mean input a strict is above. We're going to do 6% for 10 minutes. That's what I did. Again, this is your setup. Do with it what you will. Labels dat host blah blah blah. So now we just copy paste. Description goes here. The reason why these are code blocks is the Go templating and the it makes it easier to copy paste. So that way you just kind of go through everything. Yeah. You can easily just go through and copy paste. So now let's double check before I commit this. Markdown preview. Hi IOwait. Yeah, this looks good. This is my deployment. So ButterFS is something I'd like to add to, but that can be another time. We go through alerting. Was the only thing we updated. I'm committing this straight to master like a bad person. You should use branching. It's a doc change I've reviewed, and there's no like CI trips or trip ups or anything like that. Added IOwait to commit. We'll do push. I hope yeah, I do all my changes on this computer. I was like, did I change it to my laptop? I'll be mad. Alright, so that's good. We'll start some diagrams. It's starting to get warm up here, and I don't want to sweat and change out of my lovely Shift Systems shirt. When there is, if we do an order of these, I will definitely post it in the Matrix room, which you should be joining. There should be a link in the thingy. And along with that, we'll probably have like a Nextcloud form, and we'll get all your information and send out an invoice. So, yeah. We don't have like a Teespring or anything like that. We don't do a ton of merch, but if you do like this shirt, let us know, and we'll definitely do an order of these if we get enough interest for it. Alright, diagram time. Finally, last part. So, let's save this in the right spot. Save as home. Repos, shift rmm. Excuse me. Okay. So this page is going to be overview till I come up with a better name. And more shapes. Active Directory. I used last time. I like GCP. Both is a. Those are the ones that are good. Yes. Internet of Things. Not those ones. Google Cloud Icons, IBM. Network. I haven't used diagrams on this machine yet, so I have to go through and get like, oh gosh. I have to get all of them. Sitemaps. Yeah. Oh, Atlassian, oh boy. What? They have Bootstrap stuff here? So could you use this as like a jank version of Figma? Alright, apply. Let's do... Oh yeah, and I'll have to get like the Grafana logo and stuff like that. So the reason why I want to do the network diagram is I've had questions about like, so how the heck does this all work? So we're gonna have virtual machine. Do they have like not crappy ones? Service cards. Am I seriously gonna... There we go. I like how weird it is. So we'll go through here. I'll have virtual. Virtual machine. Guess we should copy this. Ah, not that. You want to copy you. There we go. We'll make sure that it's known that this is a virtual machine, and then we'll add some bare metal too. We don't have Kubernetes support, sadly. Workflows, cloud GPUs, bare metal. I don't like that bare metal logo. but we'll use it just for consistency. I need to deploy Kubernetes in my home lab first, before I do that. So we'll do bare metal solution. And again, if you have any questions about anything in chat, I'm more than happy to like delve into them. What size are these? By 140. Okay, this one isn't quite square. Physical machine. And then we need a good example of an application. So let's search for app. All right. Let's do application. Jesus, there's a lot of apps. Maybe I should use like all 3 public clouds and just make people die on the inside, because you can find like Azure people that are super big fans of Azure. So we'll have an application here. Search. And then we'll have PC. And we'll have internet. So we'll have the internet, and then we'll have actor. Oh, there's the actor. And I actually might just make this the pangolin, but I can do that later. Then actor, laptop. Alright, the GCP icons don't cover a lot. The Azure ones actually look pretty good, which I hate to say because I hate like Microsoft everything except VS Code, and reluctantly I enjoy some SQL Server. I think SQL Server is a good database that primarily gets put on a bad OS. So we have, those are 3 use cases. Then we have an actor with a laptop. We'll just do the actor. And then we'll have the internet over here. So now we need to start group or virtual machine. Yeah, that bare metal logo doesn't look good. Gosh, the Azure logos look really good. Virtual machine. I don't like the fact that the Azure, or that the Microsoft thing's good. I hate when I have to admit that. Then we do bare metal. Then we'll get rid of you. Then we'll insert crap. Import. I'm gonna do this off screen so you guys don't see my file layout because that's kind of creepy. So Nextcloud, important stuff. ShiftMon, open. You know, it's a little penguin. I'll make ShiftMon a little bit bigger than everything because I'm a vain turd. We'll do all the logo infringement off stream. I think I'm gonna have to blind myself and use light mode to make sure I label everything correctly. I forget if the text box, we'll see if the text box changed. Dark. And then we'll do the names off to the side. Text, 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 text. We'll do Grafana, Loki, Uptime, Kuma, and Victoria metrics. So now that I'm putting this in like source control, I need to make sure I'm not violating copyright or anything stupid like that, which I hate copyright. I understand that these logos could be trademarked and or copyrighted, and I don't want to like violate licenses and get sued. So there's all the diagrams for that. And I think we need one more for telegraph. So actually, really cool thing you can do is group things. So and we'll put this is starting to get goofy and cumbersome, so one thing that's fun to do when you're diagramming with telegraph is telegraph, like, it takes metrics and then sends them out, and the telegraph logo is a tiger with its butt at the right, so it looks like the tiger is like pooping metrics into things, and I like saying that sometimes. It's like, so telegraph is gonna poop metrics into Loki and Victoria metrics. And I just think it's really funny to say, especially if you're in like a business meeting or something and you're saying like, yeah, this agent just poops metrics into a database, and it's like, how are you not fired? But my theory is, if I appear smart enough sometimes, I can be silly and not get canned. Also, sometimes I have a hard time like speaking not technically to people, and sometimes the only like non-technical way of saying something could be like very informal, not necessarily inappropriate, but very informal, like pooping metrics. Yeah. There's telegraph. And we need an application CV. And we're also going to copy telegraph and put it over here. So we do want a version of telegraph over here too. Actually, no, we don't. But we'll put G G. Okay. Yeah. So we'll put uptime Kuma up here because it's optional and not necessarily essential. Or yeah. Actually, the smart thing to do would be put the Pengo up here. Sadly. Very sadly. Put the Pangolin up here. Then kind of squish everything over so we get more room for arrows. Alright. So there's your ShiftMon box, a bare metal box, a laptop, and a meat bag, and some cloud services. And then we want to move this here. These down. I swear it kind of makes sense why I'm being pedantic about where things go, and it's just because when I start drawing arrows, I want it to all, like, not look like hot garbage, basically. So now we're going to talk about why I was pedantic about this. Move ShiftMon up here. So all uptime Kuma really does is report to Victoria metrics and talk to the cloud. So now when I draw an arrow where uptime Kuma is reaching out to external services for monitoring, or it could be reaching out to your internal applications, it doesn't look like complete garbage. Other thing is Telegraph could reach out. Here, because Telegraph can do black box stuff. Currently, that is not supported in ShiftMon. They do have like DNS, HTTP, ping, and all that. It's not automated in a way for the user to use it from ShiftMon. They'd have to set that up themselves. The reason for that is I want it to be like easy mode, and the ideal client or the person I want to help is like a home labber, an IT manager in a small business like I used to be, small medium business like I used to be. And Uptime Kuma is so much easier to use and set up alerts and whatnot that it makes more sense. But as you get bigger and you have like global scale applications, or like you need multiple users to be able to access the metrics, using Ansible to deploy HTTP checks to Telegraph makes more sense. But if you're like a home labber who only hosts things internally, so like my home lab, I don't have anything in the cloud. I have one site that might have some stuff exposed publicly. And it's me and my wife who I share passwords with. Uptime Kuma is so much better than setting up Telegraph for all that. It can do it can do HTTP, ping, DNS, all that. So supporting both is something I'd like to do eventually, but for now, Uptime Kuma's fine. So yeah, this area is more for like Prometheus metrics, so http/DNS/TCP check. And then this arrow is going to be a Prometheus endpoint. Then I should group these arrows around while I do it instead of having to do it all after the fact and hating my life. So now when I move this around, it moves the whole arrow around, for better and for worse. Now we click here, we click here, we do a group. I don't know if that was a good idea or not. That's my dog Max. He's fine. He just likes to sing the song of his people. I think my wife might be home. Let me check. Probably. Alright, external webs. Or I should be consistent. http/dns/tcp check. We need to leave a little room for, actually, we need to make sure that Telegraph is represented because it's actually deployed on all of these things too. I'm just using this as an example that like Telegraph could monitor remotely or locally. Just for sake of like completeness. Oh, that's, I should not have grouped that. And one more for the laptop. And now we can draw pretty boxes around everything and move them to the back. Here. Then two back. I will make these all pretty logos, so these ones, yeah. Been replaced and upgraded and stuff. I think that was the most big brain thing I ever did. Let's copy that off. Boop. And we'll just have a little. While I'm drawing, I'm gonna rant about the SSPL. So recently, I'm a big fan of Lawrence Systems, and I actually need to write a very lengthy post about why the SSPL is garbage and needs to not exist. So the SSPL is the server-side public license, which I think it was MongoDB. Yeah, I think MongoDB was the person or the company that started it. And it basically says that if you can use this software as if it were open source unless you want to host it as a service. CLDR might be wrong. You can just Google SSPL license and read it verbatim. And I think even Mongo explains why they created it. But what that means is MongoDB has a monopoly on hosting the database as a cloud service. Which sucks, because if they are incompetent at it, they're incompetent, charge too much, whatever, you have no recourse besides to host the application on-prem for yourself and only yourself. So you can't have cool stories like Fleet, which came out of the Facebook open source project, and now it's actually one cloud hosted service, Collide, and now there's another cloud service. Well, FleetTM's on-prem. They're starting up a cloud service. But yeah, so beautiful things like that can't happen, or people can't like rage fork the software if they're doing dumb stuff with it, which was the case with OwnCloud and Nextcloud. Um, if that were SSPL, or no, OwnCloud Nextcloud's not a good example here. But the reason for this was MongoDB noticed that they were believing that AWS was hosting MongoDB, selling it to customers, and they weren't making money off of it. Instead of getting good, they just changed the license of the software from, I think it was AGPL to SSPL. So now if you're a Mongo Atlas customer, they suck. You can't go to somebody else to operate the database for you. So it doesn't look like the PostgreSQL ecosystem where there's like Enterprise DB, or you can go to any major public cloud. Also, it has failed to reach its goal because there's FerretDB if you want to operate it yourself. I think most I'd have to look it up, but I believe there are MongoDB API compatible services for MongoDB in multiple public clouds. So like, what did you accomplish besides make a confusing license? Because what if you're running like graylog on-prem and you want to send an alert to your customer? Is that a cloud service? So if your customer's firewall is sending data from their firewall to graylog hosted on your premises, and then you send an alert to that customer or give them access to a dashboard, I can't think of a legal way to say you are not a cloud service provider at that point. Therefore, you have to buy Enterprise MongoDB, even though you operated it yourself. So that's one of the reasons why I don't use graylog at all and don't want to touch it, is the SSPL is a garbage license and it needs to go away. Which is hilarious because I think Elastic had a similar licensing issue, so they switched to OpenSearch, which is Apache 2, so it's actually open source. So that's one of the reasons why I picked the stack I did, is I think Loki's AGPL, which would be the replacement for graylog in the stack. Plus, graylog only does logs, and you would have to pair it with another tool that has a different query language, different front end, or you'd have to like interface with the graylog interface to set everything up, and then view everything in Grafana, which is a bad UX. Whereas Ansible sets up Loki and you view all the data in Grafana. To me, that's a much better dashboard experience. Especially because ShiftMon configures everything for you, so you're only interfacing with the back end of Loki if something's gone horrifically wrong, and you just query your logs, and it's pretty much gravy. You push telegraph to things, it sends it to Loki, view it in Grafana. I like that setup more than just forwarding syslog, especially because like our syslog and syslog-ng are just... They do their job, but their documentation's not great, and their config language looks like garbage. Telegraph uses it uses TOML, which is very readable. So even if like you haven't interacted with an integration before, the documentation's really good, and it's TOML, so it's pretty readable. So yeah. That's why I don't like graylog, and I need to write a lengthy forum post for Lawrence Systems to kind of explain like the SSPL's weird, confusing. It hasn't like stood up to court. It also has vendor lock-in built into it, which is one of the things open source deals with super well. And then MongoDB decided, no, we want that, but we want you to work on our database for free, but you can't pick up your toys and go home when we suck. So, like, yeah, you violates the four freedoms, all that. It's not real open source, it's source available. I hate the SSPL. Use real open source. Prometheus endpoint. Best part is now I can have like a hot take on the SSPL and be like, well, yeah, what if somebody just runs ShiftMon? I know people that run ShiftMon. There's probably people that run it without me. Good. I'm making other people not go through the hours of hell I did to get good observability, and they don't have to interact with other people. Um, Also, if they do need to make the product better, don't have the time, effort, knowledge, whatever, they can pay me. That's how I plan on monetizing this. All right. Um, they can pay me for custom development, consulting, whatever. I don't know about a managed product for a while just because I know what I want out of a managed product. I can't deliver that myself. So, yeah. So we'll draw the arrows and call it a day. It's starting to get stuffy. I'm in an attic and had to turn the AC off for the stream. So I'm starting to sweat a little. So telegraph, let's draw some arrows. It said in the description I'd complain about the SSPL, so I had to do it. There it is. Actually, that should be bidirectional. There's a way to make it bidirectional, but I'm lazy. There's Victoria metrics, there's telegraph. Oh. Wait, what? That was weird. Control Z didn't fix that correctly. So then this goes to here. Oh. God, there's gonna be so many arrows in this diagram. I'll find a way to clean it up later. But this is kind of done into like what actually the arrows can come from any instance and not just your laptop or the virtual machine. It can come from bare metal too. So come to think of it, the bare metal, we'll just, yeah, we'll get rid of this. Because especially the way it's implemented, bare metal, whether that's like a hypervisor made by Supermicro and my Linux laptop, it's the same process. So it doesn't make sense to differentiate them here. So we're going to take this guy, telegraph, shoot metrics to shoot logs to Loki. We're going to have this guy to Vicky. No, not that. Here. That is much more tolerable. So now I need an arrow to go from here to Loki. Yeah, that's not confusing. Okay. There we go. I just scoot that there. So the reason why all these are outside, and the reason why this is inside is Telegraph. I don't know if I'm going to change out the Telegraph logo. I know I'm going to put in like the Victoria Metrics logo and everything here. So, yeah, ShiftMon, little pango. Actor. Now, this one is going to go from Grafana. Here. And then this is going to be, yeah. Technically this is bidirectional. Whatever. Dashboards and alerts. So Grafana shows dashboards and alerts to the user. I guess that would be directional. I don't know. Can always just make it bidirectional later. Also, one thing I need to do is rectangle here, here, to back. Yay. Then do another rectangle from oh crap, that one's rounded. I don't know if I like that better or not. The other ones, I can change it later, but right now, I just want it to look like everything else. To back. The actor is definitely not inside of the ShiftMon server. That would definitely be an issue that would need to be filed if that were the case. Yeah, so this is kind of the general architecture. So the actor will, so let's just kind of go from beginning. You have your ShiftMon server. The ShiftMon server isn't necessarily very resource intensive. It's just big so I can break out all the services that are on there. So what happens is, I don't have the connection between here, but meh. So what happens is Telegraph sits on the server and it sends data off to Loki and Victoria Metrics, which I should document here. Log data. Crap. Promise this will make sense in a second. Metric. Should just do, gosh darn it, metrics. Label. Metrics. Label. Yeah, good enough. Logs. Logs. Alright, so I think all the labels, or all the arrows are labeled now, so we can talk about it. So what happens is Telegraph gets placed on the machine with an Ansible role. So I don't know if I should put that there. Why not? Here, That one I'm stealing the logo because the Ansible logo is cool. Then we'll do tobacco. Then we'll do the text. Deploys, telegraph, and ShiftMon. Actually, we'll just do Alright, so what happens is the actor instructs Ansible. Okay, so what happens, I think we're done. The actor will tell Ansible to deploy ShiftMon, whether that's Telegraph or the actual ShiftMon server itself. It will deploy that out to your assets. So that could be a separate server that just scrapes stuff from a hypervisor. Oh god, forgot that use case. There is a use case where Telegraph can scrape an external application, which I guess technically this is. Now we're getting into way too much data. I could actually put that over here too. But basically, operator tells ShiftMon, hey, here's Telegraph. Or put Telegraph over here, put ShiftMon over here. Ansible, you fill out your inventory, run the playbooks, get awesome server with all these services deployed. And when you run it against your assets, so this could be bare metal, this could be a virtual machine, it could even be an external server that is monitoring a different application. So that could be like for things where you can't install the agent. So VMware stuff doesn't support Telegraph. Got a request for TrueNAS that needs to get implemented at some point. Those things don't let you run an agent on it, but they can send syslog or collect metrics and through a third-party API or a different protocol. So we'll draw that next. Or I'll draw that after the stream's over. Once the agents are in here, they'll send log data to Victoria metrics, logs to Loki. If you have Prometheus endpoints, we can scrape those too. And then we will put all that data in here, and then Grafana displays it to the actor. Or to the meat bag. I'm putting meat bag because it's my project. My supervisor isn't here to tell me, hey, it's rude to call people a meat bag. Hey, you're right, but what's the fun in that? There it is. Meat bag. So Spider-Man over here runs Ansible. Ansible deploys the software. The software will run some level of discovery and be like, oh, I'm on bare metal, I need to gather smart statistics. I'm on a virtual machine, I can gather, I'm on a virtual machine, I don't need to do that. I see that Nginx is present, we have configuration for that. So it will do some stuff for you, and it assumes since it's designed to run on-prem, you don't necessarily care about cardinality, so it just gathers everything. The Ansible rules will also deploy the ShiftMon server, which consists of Grafana, Loki, Telegraph, and Victoria metrics by default. Uptime, Kuma, and Grafana on-call are optional. On-call's lumped in here. Uptime Kuma can check, DNS, HTTP, ping of all your infrastructure. And can also send that data. Oh, that's a Telegraph. Crap. Or Telegraph box actually does a ton. Actually, what we can do Boom. So telegraph, sphere. I'm going to use vSphere as an example. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that this product can do. And I don't know if this is too detailed or not, but this is the pedantic version. I can always make a less pedantic version later. I got you vSphere. Sorry if you have to use that for literally anything. Proxmox VE. And this one is a direct to Victoria metrics. So ports, third party, appliance, I guess is the more correct term, appliance that sends data over. Or appliance that exports metrics, Proxmox, E. There OpenStack? Please say there's OpenStack. Here we don't support OpenStack yet. I want to support OpenStack. I just need a customer with OpenStack instances I can gather data with. I do not have the time to stand up an OpenStack instance myself, sadly. So vSphere, guess I should do appliance with metrics API vSphere. Here, this application goes through here. And then this would be a pull. And then we need one more app for syslog. Or, screw it. This up, this, sir. So syslog server yeets logs. This one's tricky because Proxmox can send metrics out either in Graphite, which Victoria metrics can accept, or you could have something. Victoria metrics can't accept Graphite, or you can pipe it through Telegraph. Both are okay. They have pro cons, and there's also like some things. What was I gonna say? So the appliance sends the metrics. There are some things that like are picky about SSL or not, or you might want to enrich the data, which you would want to do on Telegraph. There's a reason why you would want to do both. I'm just being thorough, pedantic, whatever you want to call it, about sending data. Oh yay, food order. Sorry, my wife's getting me food. My wife's probably pissed because I didn't check my phone for 20 minutes. She texted me 20 minutes ago. Yeah. That one I'm actively working on for a dashboard. I don't want to do that one on stream because it could show like IP addresses and like gives you traffic patterns and stuff. Here, Telegraph can gather all this data and then it can ship it back. So this is like the thorough explanation for what's going on. And like every possible connection. Log data, real simple, you know. Logs. Actually, I think I have everything besides like the... No, technically I have the API set up too because I have my crypto tickers on there. I literally have all of this set up in my lab right now. Ugh, yuck. Metrics, logs, Victoria metrics, appliance, that sends / exports. Okay. So we have an appliance that sends metrics. We have the health checks. God, this is a complicated project. What did I sign up for? So yeah. So the reason for this the stuff on the right, is there are things you cannot put agents on. And there's like appliances, so like TrueNAS, vSphere, they'll support sending metrics and logs to like a syslog server. And you can run a syslog server and Telegraph on the same box. It's not a huge deal. It's just for the sake of like completeness. So there's data that could be sent to a syslog server to telegraph to be enriched. Just like that. So it can do that graylog workflow. This is actually just the stack being better than graylog is you could query stuff without extractors and make it pretty after the fact with regex or pattern parser. Use pattern parser, don't use regex. But you can make the data better once it's there. That is much harder to do with anything Elastic Stack from my experience. Again, tell me if I'm wrong, but that's the this tool is better argument. There's also there's not screwy licensing argument, because everything in here is either AGPL, MIT, or Apache for the actual ShiftMon stack. I don't have any of that monopoly nonsense. Yay. Yeah, I'm calling this good. Yeah, I'm done streaming for now. It was really fun streaming. All the information, if you want to contact us for sales, please like and subscribe. All the things to make the algorithm happy. Yeah, we are available for consulting, implementation. You need your app monitored, especially for stuff over here. Yeah,